You know, folks, when it comes to being a sports fan or a fan of a specific team, we all essentially sign our souls to a contract that allows us to deal with infinite suffering for as long as we live. That is what I feel like today supporting Liverpool Football Club. But to give you a better example, let me explain that. Here's what I say. When it comes to other sports that I have suffered with, I think about the New York Rangers. A team that has not won a Stanley Cup since 1994. A team that has come close on a couple of different occasions over the span of my lifetime, but no cigar. Now, if you're a fan of, say, the Toronto Maple Leafs, you've been waiting practically an entire lifetime for them to get their shit together. And as a Rangers fan, I can't talk, but I do laugh at them. You could be a New York Giants fan like myself, and your team would be the laughingstock of the NFL ever since an infamous vacation photo was taken with about half of your team standing on a yacht. And the internet has not let you forget that every day for as long as you shall live, because you have not had a 500 record since then. At least I don't think. It's been a long time. Or you could be the New York Mets, which I am not a New York Mets fan, but I've heard they've had a 12-game losing streak, which is astronomically terrible in the world of baseball. But you spent $760 million on Juan Soto, so it makes up for it, right? The point I'm trying to get is there's many mistakes that teams, franchises make with players, with performances, with offices like GMs and sporting directors and such. And that is where I'm getting at with this today with Liverpool Football Club. Because I saw a report, and I have been seeing a report, that I somehow cannot fathom how this is even being spoken about, but it is. That Arne Slot, despite an absolutely mediocre season, just incredible in the sense of underwhelming, just poor performances. It's like what used to be fun to watch, a team that used to be fun to watch, a team that I grew to love because they were fun to watch, has now turned into this boring, watered down, bland style of football. And I sit here and I ask myself, when is this going to end? It is insufferable to watch week in and week out. The performances, the players at times have been terrible. And I come to find that there's been reports that somehow, some way, FSG and Liverpool hierarchy decide that Arne Slot is still the guy to take the team into the summer, into the next season. Only after does that report come out that Chelsea announces that they have fired their manager, who, mind you, has played like a total of 6-7 games over the course of this season. He's been a part of six or seven games, something like that. There's like a very low number there. So you mean to tell me that a club that is clearly suffering decided to make what they thought was the right move, sack their manager? Same thing with United. Same thing with Tottenham, though Tottenham's going to get relegated anyway, so that doesn't really matter. Why is it that a club the likes of Liverpool still continues to live with mediocrity with Arne Slot and the changes he has made to this team? Understand that we are not going to be the same team we are this year compared to next year. We're not going to have Mo. We're not going to have Robertson. We may not have a lot of other players, and I'll get to that in a few minutes. But I also understand that this problem with the team is not necessarily all on Arne Slot. Many of those players I have mentioned have, performed rather poorly. Injuries have mounted up, the likes of which has been astronomically painful, both physically and emotionally. Physically for the player, emotionally for us. Seeing some of our guys get carted off the way they have has been absolutely heart-wrenching, and I hope that they're all doing well in recovery. But I also sit here and say to myself, yes, we have injuries. Yes, players are not performing to the standards of which we expect them to, but we also are not playing like a team that we have been used to seeing the last 10 years because we have a different manager. Tactics are different. The staffs are different. Something's not adding up here. How do you spend $500 million on players, quality players, who have also underperformed, mind you, and get worse? Again, it's like the Mets spending $760 million, and that's one player they spent it on. One player. And they're worse. They're on a 12-game losing streak. Could you imagine if we sold a few of our assets and got one good star player and we got worse? That is what this feels like right now. So I truly cannot fathom the whole idea of the club continuing to backslot when Xabi Alonso's right there waiting for a phone call, mind you. Many other big clubs are also trying to change their trajectory in firing their managers and saying, hey, we need to get better here. Why are other clubs being proactive and we aren't? That's what I ask myself today. I cannot fathom the idea of going into Yankee Stadium in July knowing that Arne Slot is still a manager of my football club. God forbid we lose this game, I will be livid. But it's about to get a whole lot fucking worse because apparently there was a report from Fabrizio Romano today that Juventus is approaching Alisson over a possible Serie A return if Liverpool were to let him leave. This is after Liverpool extended his deal by 1 year. And now there is talks about him leaving to go to Juventus. What the fuck is going on? Not only that, Curtis Jones, a lifer, has only ever played with one club his entire career. Also rumored to leave at the end of the season. Same thing with Macca. Same thing with Joe Gomez. A lot of players are deciding to leave. A lot of Klopp guys, too, if you think about it. As a matter of fact, a lot of the core leadership is pretty much going to be gone if that's the case. Robbo's already leaving. Mo Salah's already leaving. We know that for a fact. But now throw in Becker, Jones, Gomez, two guys that have been there so long for their whole careers, who the fans resonate with. And then you throw in Alisson Becker? I cannot sit here and have a thought that wouldn't consist of anger and frustration. So, in hopes of me not making an ass out of myself on this show, here's what I will say. What is this club fucking doing? I have seen talk about this all day, and I don't want to believe that it's true, but I feel like maybe there is some truth to it. Maybe Trent Alexander-Arnold wasn't the rat we made him out to be. Maybe this whole looking for a bigger name, a big club, grass is greener on the other side type shit. Maybe that wasn't the narrative we should have been talking about. Maybe him turning on his team in the middle of a championship season wasn't the narrative we should be turning on with. Maybe he saw something before anybody else did. Then you have the whole fact of Luis Diaz wanting to get extended and not getting sold instead, getting transferred. Darwin Nunez leaving. Granted, I find that to be probably a good decision regardless, but still, many fans will disagree. Jarrell Kwanzaa, who was touted to be the next Van Dijk. Guy had size. All he needed was a little bit more polish. The treatment of Harvey Elliott has also been very evident in this whole thing. It's gotta come down to somebody, right? Slot's gotta have some sort of bald heads getting in everything, man. I just can't take it. Is this who we're backing when the entirety of our leadership is about to fucking leave? Except for Van Dijk? That's it. That's all who's going to remain at that rate. I just want to... Oh, God, it's driving me nuts. This team is driving me nuts. Of course, I start this show in a terrible season, but at least you're getting quality content like this every damn week. But God damn it, my soul is getting crushed with each passing day reading news of this club. I can't take it anymore, man. This is like I am so upset. What the fuck is going on? Is happening to my club, man? What is going on? What is happening? I am just so beyond frustrated at this rate. To make matters worse, as we move on, Liverpool-linked midfielder Adam Morton is now dealing with yet another injury setback at Crystal Palace, which will force him out of the next couple of matches, and of course raising concerns about his availability and probably his sustainability as a player on a team. Now, the injury is described as not necessarily long-term, but it's certainly a pattern of recurring issues. So Palace, of course, is managing him cautiously, but it also begs the angle of the transfer, where how much is Liverpool still interested despite injury concerns? Do keep in mind, we're not the only club looking at him. I believe Real Madrid was the other one that I talked about a few days ago. So, just what we need, another injury-prone player to get onto the club. So, and I'm sure Wharton's a great player, don't get me wrong, but like, I cannot see us getting someone when we've already had a litany of injuries this season, sometimes for the same player. Jeremy Frimpong. Joe Gomez. Is there really, is it worth signing on the talent that Wharton has if the trade-off is the actual availability of what he does? That's what I ask myself. That is the question we all have to ask ourselves. It also begs the question of what Liverpool's recruitment's going to be going forward if Wharton is not someone that they are going to pursue due to issues such as this. So, as highly talented as Wharton might be, his physical well-being is something I kind of question if this is an ongoing issue here. If he's not durable, we're just going to find ourselves in the same problem we're in this year. We need durable midfielders. That's part of the problem we've been having. We need durable defensive guys, and we need durable midfielders. And we certainly need a front line that fucking scores goals and doesn't get injured. Because we've been having a lot of those too. It sucks. I hate this. This is just an absolute awful, awful day to be a Liverpool fan. Here's the one thing I will talk about, though. It's relatively positive. Is Liverpool are considering a summer move for Jared Bowen, who is currently a part of West Ham United. He is under contract until 2030, though. So the fee outlook, of course, highly likely, unless West Ham are relegated, which could completely negate that, which I don't think that's going to happen at this rate, unless Tottenham pulls off a miracle to get out of relegation, sending West Ham down. I don't see that happening this season, and if that is the case, West Ham would be incredibly lucky because they were at one point on the verge of relegation in their own right. So, the thing about Jared Bowen is that he himself was described as unbelievable by Jurgen Klopp. And as far as this season's output, he is on. He's got 16 goal involvements in 33 league games, and as a career Premier League record, he's got 64 goals, 51 assists, and 233 appearances. But how does that factor into Liverpool right now? As of right now, you can probably say that we're expected to sign at least 2 new forwards with the absence of Mo Salah and the injury to Ekitike. And, of course, let's also not forget Chiesa likely to be leaving as well, which would also be a massive bummer. But as far as what Bowen offers, he's a very versatile player. He's got good leadership. Of course, he's got proven Premier League output. With a clear attacking rebuild incoming, we have to ask ourselves, what do we need right now? And Jared Bowen can be a very good pickup for us, as he is a very proven, immediate impact option. Plus, the thing that we have to keep in mind, though, about is the fact that he is probably going to be under a large price tag, considering that he is under contract for the next few years. So West Ham have the absolute maximum amount of leverage at this moment in time. Only discount scenario would be involving relegation, which doesn't seem likely all right now. So it's got a good, obviously he pretty much works as a tactical fit, but the one concern that we might have, though, is his age. He's 29 years old. I'm not sure if a team that's going through somewhat of a youth movement right now really needs a player that's 29 going on 30. I'm not sitting here that's saying 30 is the age of unk status, but in the world of sports, once you hit 30, you either have a pretty solid next couple of years or you have a pretty steep, start to have a decline here. And it looks to me like I don't want that to happen to Jared Bowen, and I also don't want to take the risk either. So that's what I've got for Liverpool Latest today. My club is in shambles, but I love every single one of you for coming on every day and putting up with my bullshit. Thank you so much. As always, please be sure to leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts down below, and most importantly, share the show, subscribe, tell your friends. If you want an entertaining, different perspective on Liverpool Football Club, come hang out with your boy. I'm not going to get all analytical. I'm just going to tell you how it is. I'm going to tell you how I feel, as any proud New Jerseyan does. So, appreciate y'all being here. As this news has come out today about Slot and later on Allison, just know that I am here for you to suffer through it with you, because you never walk alone.